awesome time in the Lord, y'all. Pastor Rich here at CCC, 308 West 3rd Street, Chester, Pennsylvania. We just finished up a series called Matters of the Heart. We were talking about Jezebel and Elijah, a deceitful, wicked heart and a fearful heart. And I just want to encourage somebody not to be fearful for what God is calling you to, not to be fearful for what God is asking you to put on you, the mantle He's putting on you. Because whatever He calls you to, He will give you the tools necessary to get to the end. So please never run away out of fear. Never get out of the way of fear, because you could walk yourself into your own wilderness. Get down here next Sunday, our Resurrection Sunday. We would love to see you. Please come fellowship with us and worship with us. CCC is the place to be. Love y'all.
Who am I to give up on God? You know how many things I stuck it out with? You know how many things I fought for that wasn't good for me? What I look like giving up on my Creator? But if I'm honest, there's been spaces in my life, even though I didn't say I gave up, I moved like I gave up. I knew I was the only one, Shaw. That's why I ain't really, I knew it. I hope this helps somebody, because it just dropped in my spirit. I don't even want to talk about it. But when God saw fit to take my child, I gave up. I questioned him. I had real questions. I even said some things that was just so left field. I had a Job experience. That was the first time I realized that my understanding and God's understanding was different. It was the first time I was really put in a position where I had to accept it, whether I liked it or not. And I was mad at God. But I didn't give up in my heart, because I knew everything I felt He was the answer to. So it's a weird place to be in when you're mad at Him, but you still got to depend on Him. Because even in my mad, my fear was to slip into my depression. See, people don't want to be honest. I could be honest. You know why I could be honest? Because He delivered me. You know why I don't mind talking about it? Because I got through. You know why I don't mind talking about it? Because I want to encourage somebody who may be in the space that I was in. But He never gave. See, here's the crazy part. He knew all of that. He knew every piece of that. And what I do know is He was super patient with me. I showed up to church every Sunday angry. And it took for a man named Chris Mills. He said, "What's going on with you?" And I looked at him and I said, "What you mean?" He said, "Something's troubling your heart, son." I said, "Well, why would you say that?" He said, "You play the drums different when you're angry." He said, "When you play and you really in here playing for God, you real good." He said, "But lately you just been banging." I came to tell somebody this morning, when you angry, you just banging. The Bible say, and I'm paraphrasing, but the Bible say, you can speak with the tongues of man, but if you don't have love, it's like a clanging cymbal. You just banging. We got to stop banging. God know you hurt. He know you struggling with his decision. And he's still God. Will I sit here and honestly say I understand now? No. Does it not hurt? No. But am I all right? Yeah. Yeah. And I came to tell somebody today, if you're not all right, let him get you there. Because he'll get you there. It don't mean you still won't have days where you cry. But he can get you to a place where you can smile. I can think about my daughter and I smile. I promise y'all that ain't got nothing to do with my word, but I guess it does, because it's a matter of the heart. We've been talking over the past few weeks about matters of the heart. I guess that was a matter of my heart. But we came from Proverbs 4:23, where it said, guard your heart above all else, for it determines the course of your life. And last week, we started a message entitled, There's a Price on Your Head. There's a price on your head. And we were talking about the spirit of Jezebel. I gave some points last week. I'm about 4 of them. I'm going to reiterate those, and then we're going to move forward in the text. Principle 1 was make sure their position matches your purpose. Make sure their position matches your purpose. And we talked about Ahab marrying a woman who despised and hated the people that God gave him rule over. God gave you reign as the king over Israel. She hates anybody who loves God. How'd you marry her? How'd you get connected with her? I thought it was interesting. I went back and I read the text, and there's no description of her. She just popped up. Sometimes we got to do a little bit more homework before we think we know everything. I've learned over the past couple of weeks, that's really what homework was about. It wasn't to keep you busy. It was to make sure that you didn't go into the test on Friday not knowing anything. The homework was practice. And sometimes we skip practice and jump right in the game. And if you old like me, you ain't stretched, you ain't played in a while, it hurt when you get in the game Ahab jumped in the game with no practice. He saw a woman. He liked her. He liked how she looked. Let's just be honest. And he married her. She was counterproductive to his purpose. I said I was going to be careful of the phrases I use because I go home and I watch myself. My pastor told me to. And I realize there's certain things I say all the time, and I'm trying not to say those things. We got to make sure the people that we pull into our path is a part of the purpose. This just dropped. The problem is we pull people who look like our past, but we trying to move to our destiny. We pull people of comfort. It's no coincidence every mate got the same. It's not them. It's your selection process. That was last week. Listen. When God sets your path up, he already put the people in it who's supposed to be there. I understand we got to live life and go through the trial and error of life. But when we pull people in constantly out of comfort, we make our situations uncomfortable. Because oh my God, I want to move. You ever been on your way and you realize the person you pulled in don't get along with the person that's there? And it's because there's a disagreement in spirit. Because your past is always going to pull you to the past. And your destiny is pulling you forward. So they're not beefing with each other. They're beefing over you. Principle number 2. They will always seek to kill off your truth. She wanted to kill all the prophets because she had a lie she was trying to tell. And it was easier to kill them than compete with the lie. Bar. They're going to find it easier to get rid of you. I ain't even going there today. That's the message from last week. You keep trying to figure out what's this about. And it's because the truth in you, not you, let me be very clear. The Holy Spirit in you is the truth. And if you move and you show up in the Holy Spirit, your truth, light and dark can't operate in the same place. My lie is darkness. My truth is light. So at some point when the truth show up, the lie got to go. And what the lie will do, or the liar will do, is they will work extra hard to keep the truth out the way. Principle number 3. At some point, it will rain. They was in the drought. And while they was in the drought, Ahab came up with a plan. He said, yo, man, we going to work together. You go find some springs and valleys and grass because I got to keep these donkeys and sheep alive because if they die, we going to die. What he didn't know was God was telling Elijah at the same time, go tell Ahab it's going to rain. See, what happens when you disconnected from God? There's messages for you that you never get. I remember back in the day, they used to have this, and that wasn't even that long ago, but it seems so obsolete right now. They used to have something called like caller ID. Like you could look at the phone, see the person name and number, and you could decide whether you wanted to answer or not. I think today they call it curving. You was curving people because you had their name and number. Oh, no, I'm not talking to them today. I feel like to a degree, we've been curving God. Or we have a tendency to curve God because we're not connected. And we trying to make a plan. I heard Lavonda say, I came with my own plan. Ahab had his own plan because he was disconnected and didn't realize he was trying to find a spring and God was working on rain. The problem is some of us think too small. But you only got small thoughts when you're not connected to God. See, only a true believer thinks outside the box. Let me help somebody. I said it, but there it is. I'm gonna make sure I don't say it again. God has this thing that he'll put on you that'll make you see yourself in places you never imagined. But when you disconnected from God, let me put it like this. You saw yourself selling dinners out the house. God saw you with a restaurant. But you never get that revelation if you're not connected. So you'd be content with selling them little fish dinners out the back door. God said, I'm trying to open up a bigger door. I'm trying to put you in a bigger space. I'm trying to make this lucrative for your life. And I'm going to use it to bless the community. But you never get that download when you're not connected. Principle number 4, the drought will always push you to the connect. I know last week I gave some street knowledge, and I know at least one of y'all walked out of here and said, Pastor had to. I don't care what he says. I know he was dibbling and dabbling. I was not. I was not. Now, I had some friends, but I was not. But when your life dry up, it'll push you to God. I learned the hard way, thinking I could do it on my own. And it got so bad. You know what's crazy? God made it so that nobody I called was available. Nobody I reached out. So here's the part where we mess up. You get mad at these people because you were there for them when they went through. You was the shoulder to cry on when they were struggling. You was the meal provider when they were hungry. And now you at the lowest point of your life and they just busy. They won't call you back. They won't respond to a text. You've been left on red all week. And you're trying to figure out, how have I been this cool with all these people doing all these things and I can't find one person? I need you to know God made it that way. He said, if this dry up enough, it'll push you to me. See, I don't want you to talk to them because you have a tendency to give them too much credit. What happens is you start calling on them before you ever talk to me. So now I'm going to make it so that they are not an option. The drought will always push you back to the connect. We struggling out here. What we going to do until we up? And at some point you expect the connect to give you what you need so that you won't go under. I'm talking to the street folks right now. See, because I got to give it to them like this, and I promise I wasn't out there. The struggle with the street guy is, if the connect don't give me what I need, somebody else comes in and they got a product that works, and I got to go because I no longer can provide. They missed it. It was too many bars in there. Your struggle in your dryness is that you start hopping first from church to church. And when you can't get your fix from church to church, you start to think about other religions and belief systems. And what you will find is that at some point you'll find something that speaks to your flesh. Something that coincides with how you feel. But I know for a fact, and you ain't got to disagree with me, I'm standing firm on this. It's only one God. It's only one Savior. It's only one Lord. The drought should push you to the connect. So this week, we pick up. Again, we come in. I left y'all in Kings, 1 Kings chapter 18. So what happens is they had this conversation, Obadiah and Elijah, and he says, look, man, I need to speak to Ahab. Ahab is married to the woman who kills people like Elijah. But God told him, I need you to go to reveal yourself to Ahab. So now they meet. There's a conversation between Ahab and Elijah. And I started this conversation because Ahab approached it just like I thought he would. Oh, you Elijah, the troublemaker. You the one causing all this discourse in my house and in my land. You the one coming speaking the truth against my lie. He calls him a troublemaker, and Elijah responds, no, it's you and your family. Let me help y'all. We have a tendency in our families to pinpoint one person and make them the problem. It's you and your family. They learned that behavior somewhere. I knew that wasn't going to sit well. I knew it. Because you think that little girl just cussed. She hears somebody cussing. You think she just talked reckless out of mouth. She learned that watching you. I mean, it's cool to step on toes sometimes and get you, get you up off your feet a little bit, get you moving. So he says, y'all won't obey the Lord's commands, and so he had a double situation. Y'all won't do what God said do, and y'all serve another God. It said in the book that Ahab was worse than any other king before him. And he was worse than any other king because he wouldn't obey the commands. That's what every king did. But then you married a woman who killed Christians and served another God. I can't stop there, Jenny. I want to so bad, but I can't. I got to keep moving on. So Elijah summons all of Israel to go to Mount Carmel. He said, we're going to have a contest. I'm not going to lie. When I read this, I struggled with it because I was like, since when did God start having to prove himself? But he's so just that if that's what you need, he's willing to do it. Y'all should have got up and shouted because everybody in here has experienced doubt in some area. And God being humble like he is, I don't have to prove nothing to you. But you know what? For your sake, I will. So Elijah tells them, he said, go get all 450 prophets from Baal and the 400 prophets from Asherah. So that's 850 prophets, and it's just him. He said, how long will y'all waver? He's talking to the children of Israel, not the prophets. He said, how long will y'all waver between two opinions? Choose ye this day who you will serve. See, God never changed his position about how he moves. He didn't say, y'all will do it today. He said, make a decision. Make a decision. But it's hard for you to make this decision because once you start letting people speak into your heart. So now I'm struggling with what I know and what I heard. Come limit in your path. And the worst thing we can ever do is make somebody reasonable, seasonal. God put them there either on assignment or for your assignment. And when the assignment is up, you still pulling them along. I came to tell you that it's over. I ain't telling nobody to go home and break up. That ain't what I'm saying. Because I'm talking outside of your domestic relationship. That been my girlfriend for 25 years, and she been holding you back for 20 of them. Because she was only supposed to be there for 5. When she moved away and you ain't talked for 6 years, that was it. You went searching for her. Girl, I've been looking for you. For what? So they have this contest, right? Elijah tells them, we're going to go get these bulls. We're going to put them on the altar. And whoever God strikes down fire first is the true God. So they like, okay, cool. So all the children of Israel, all of Israel's there, the prophets, and Elijah. So they have this contest. The prophets of Baal are walking around all morning calling on their God. So from, let's say, 8 a.m. to 12 noon, they just walking around yelling. Elijah starts to mock them. He says, he goes, y'all gonna have to yell a little louder than that. Y'all gonna have, maybe he sleep. Maybe he had lunch. And at first I was like, yo, he ain't got to do all that. But I think really what he was saying was, it don't matter what you doing. He's not going to give you an answer. Can I remind y'all that Baal is the nature god? So fire should have been in his wheelhouse. The person you put in your life was, I ain't going there. Nope, I'm going to stay focused. I'm going to stay focused. Because the way that just dropped in my spirit, that's going to hurt. And I don't want nobody to be hurt. But listen, Baal was the nature god. So he should have been able to handle fire. She got with that man because she needed bill money. And he was supposed to be the provider in their relationship. And she realized all she did was picked up a burden. Because it wasn't in his wheelhouse. She just thought it was. I'm going to go back to this podium. And I'm not going to even look up at him because I was just trying to help him. See, when you make other things, because we always think serving another God is just biblical. We do it right now today. There's some things we put in front of God. There's some people we put in front of God. There's some places we put in front of God, and they have become our idols. We got to check in with it, that, or them before God. So it says that the prophets of Baal started cutting themselves as they walked around their altar, cutting themselves till blood was gushing out. This was common, but it made me think. I said, you mean to tell me I serve a God where his blood ain't good enough? We sing a song, and we say in that song, I know it was the blood. And I know for a fact it wasn't mine. So you mean to tell me I serve something that blood ain't good enough? So as they cutting themselves, let me give you this freebie. You ready? When you serve idols, your blood still won't make anything happen. You know what I hear people say a lot of time in the world? I put my blood, sweat, and tears in this, and it still ain't work. Because there's only one blood. So Elijah repairs. This is what Elijah does. After he watched them make fools of themselves all day, he repairs the altar of the Lord that they tore down. I knew that was going. I wanted them to get that one, General. I did. He rebuilt the altar of the Lord that they tore down. CCC. We got to rebuild the altar of the Lord that was tore down. It says Elijah called on the people. He wasn't moving by himself. He said, Israel, this is what I need y'all to do. I need y'all to fill up these jugs of water, pour it over top of the bull meat, and I need y'all to do that 3 times. After he does that 3 times, he then starts to talk to God. Principle number 6, you ready? You got to be willing to work for your deliverance. See, we got this thing all misconstrued, Minister Moen. We keep thinking we pray to God and then he starts zapping stuff. And what Elijah proved is, if y'all gonna be delivered from this, y'all gonna have to work too. Elijah understood, I'm here for the people, but I can't save the people. He made them active participants in their deliverance. It is a bar. Some of y'all stuck because y'all won't do nothing. Some of y'all can't get out because you won't move. God is saying, I've been laying this thing out for you for a long time, and you won't even do as much as pray. But you want to be healed. You want to be set free. But you won't even pour no water. God said, I got the hard part. I got to make it happen. Think about this. God got the hard part. We go to him just to talk. Brother Jeff, all we got to do is talk to him. He got to make it work. And we don't even want to talk. Jesus Christ. They had a different approach. The prophets of Baal was all day moving around their altar by themselves. What it signified to me was they considered themselves the people that was able to give out blessings. Elijah called on the people because he understood that God had to bless the people, but I needed them to participate in the deliverance. Beware of anybody who always, I got it. You go ahead, I got it. But this for me, you go ahead. No, you go ahead. No, you go ahead. I'm silly, y'all. Don't pay me no mind. It says, Elijah prays, and God does this to prove that he is God. He said to Baal with one move, because it says they were praying for fire, never got fire. Elijah prayed, and the Bible records that immediately fire shot down. The children of Israel bowed down and acknowledged God to be their Lord. They seized the prophets of Baal upon Elijah's request. Get them. We're going to take them down to the valley, and that's where we're going to kill them at. The chapter goes on to talk about Elijah praying for rain. He tells Ahab, now peep this, right? He went there because he had to tell him it was going to rain. But they don't get to that because he had to prove that God was God first. That was a bar. There are people who come into your life to give you the message of it's going to rain, and it's delayed because they got to first work through proving that God is God. Jesus, come on, man, I'm about to walk out of here. Maybe I'll say it to me because they don't get it. My blessing is delayed because people can't tell me about the rain that's coming because they got to first work through my stuff to get me to believe that God is even capable of being my God. He tells Ahab, oh, by the way, because this is what I came here for, but since you delayed me, by the way, I see a rain coming. You might want to get on your chariot and head back home because the rain might stop you. He tells his servants, go out, tell me, is the rain coming? 7th time, the last one comes back. He said, I saw a cloud the size of a hand. In other words, I ain't seen no rain clouds, but I saw a cloud the size of a hand. By the time they had this conversation, you look up in the sky and it's black from clouds. Ahab is on his chariot riding. They standing there like, oh yeah, it's about to rain. And it says that the Bible that God gave Elijah supernatural strength. He tucked his cloak and he runs past the chariot. That's a horse. Some of us got cars with horsepower. That's an actual horse. It said he ran past that and got to the gates of Jezreel before Ahab. And I was like, why did they make mention of that? Because every now and again, when you do what God say do, he'll get you there before your enemy. Wherever your there is, he will get you there before your enemy if you do it his way. That was a small bar, but I ain't going to. So now we land where we started, chapter 19. It says, when Ahab got home, now mind you, Elijah already there. When Ahab got home, it says he told Jezebel everything Elijah had done, including the way he had killed the prophets of Baal. I think sometimes, and I don't know if y'all did this, but I did this. When I first read this, I thought she was upset about the prophets of Baal getting killed. Who thought that? Thank you for being honest, because I thought it. She's not mad about the prophets getting killed, because it said he told her everything, including that the prophets got killed. So he told her about what the Lord had done. He told her how God used Elijah. He told her about God moving and letting it rain. Mind you, she was in a drought. She's not mad because those prophets got killed, because in her mind, she could make more prophets. Principle number 7, you ready? They ain't mad at you, they mad at God. See, you think people really care about your new car and your new house. They don't care about that. What they're struggling with is watching you get blessings poured out on you. And instead of asking the questions of who do you serve, they say things like, she thinks she all that. He think he's something. He ain't got his little suit on, and he think he People who hate sound silly. You gotta listen to them. Their voice changes and everything. You be like, yo, he was a hater. Oh my God. Yeah, and he gonna do that. Like, what you talking about? She was mad that her lie had been exposed. See, they was trying to figure out how I correlated. Because she's a liar. Let me help y'all. They're a liar. See, we say little things like, oh no, he told a lie. No, he's a liar. One lie is a lie. When you lie at least once a day, you're a liar. I'm just telling y'all how it works. Because you'll keep convincing yourself, I only told one lie today. But you did that every day. They're not mad. She's not mad at Elijah. She's mad at God's movement and her lie being exposed. So it says, so Jezebel sent this message to Elijah. May the gods, lowercase g, may the gods strike me and even kill me if by this time tomorrow I have not killed you just as you killed them. So what she did, instead of, I need, this is a fresh bar. They never going to acknowledge God. She made it about the prophets getting killed because that's what she was standing on. But her real anger was with God. But to admit that I'm angry with God, I got to be admitting that there is a God. I'm gonna help somebody real quick. You ready? Watch this. This is a good one. When people want to argue with you about whether God is or ain't, please don't do it. Please do not do. I urge you, do not. You don't have to argue about who God is to you. What they don't realize they're doing is, even in the midst of trying to dispel what you believe, they're acknowledging that he is. I ain't never heard nobody argue about a ghost. We ain't see it. But if I'm going to sit and argue with you, well, if it's this, then how come it's that? Just say he is and let's move on. Or you're going to be frustrated because I'm going to stare at you for a long time. Listen, I'm trying to help somebody. That's the best argument you can have. You just going to look at me? So, she sent a message. She said, if by this time tomorrow, you ain't dead too. Every now and again, this ain't a principle, this is just free. They gonna come for you. Every now and again, they gonna come for you. Matter of fact, I want to suggest that if you're doing it God's way, you should expect somebody to come for you. If Jesus himself faced all that opposition, why you think you get the easy route? All right, I ain't gonna go there. They like, not me, Pastor. It said Elijah was afraid and fled for his life. Principle number 8, you ready? Fear will make you afraid of things that never existed. Fear will make you afraid of things that I'm gonna prove it to you on the word. You ready? She said, if by this time tomorrow I haven't killed you like they did. Like they did. So in other words, that tells me that at some point he had a recollection of how they died. And because he was able to see in his mind what happened to them, the fear struck because he didn't want that to happen to him. But how many of you know just because something happens to somebody else, that does not mean that that is also your story? So he was afraid of what he saw in his mind. She wasn't around. She sent a threat. And how about this? She didn't send a threat of something she did. She sent the threat of something he did. This is good. Have you ever found yourself afraid of something you heard? Think about, and everybody should have said yes. How many of us, and I ain't gonna look their way because I know I'm right. How many of us done went and bought all the canned goods and water in the market because we heard? We heard. We heard. You go outside and look, it ain't no signs of a storm coming. But because you heard, you got 750 canned goods. You got 9-10 cases of water. You done bought all the milk and eggs. But if the power go out, they missed that bar. But if the power go out, have you ever found yourself afraid of the things you told yourself? Boom. That business ain't working because you keep speaking against it. That marriage ain't working because you keep talking down on it. If every time y'all argue, they threaten to leave, that sounds like somebody who ain't willing to work. I was going to start a business, but that's where it started at. But I just found a new meaning of that song, Doing the But. We all do the but that but has kept most of us out of our blessing. That but has kept us from walking forward in our destiny. That but keeps you from even seeing yourself in position. There's multiple bars in there, bro, you know. We got to be careful about the things we heard. This is why when they say guard your heart at all costs, let me tell y'all how the body works when it's in spirit. Your ears, your heart, your mind, your eyes all work together. They all work together. So when you guard your heart, really what he's telling you to is guard what you're listening to. Because he understands if it gets in here, it becomes, you cook it up here, and then you just sit it right here. Then out of your mouth flows the abundance of what? It says it determines the course of your life. Now, the word is so simple, y'all. We just got to really look at it. He's saying, be careful with people speaking to your life. Be careful what you speak into your life. The only thing people and you should speak into your life is what God said. So it says he went down to Beersheba, town in Judah. He left his servant there because he ran. He heard she was coming for him and he ran. He took his servant to a sacred place. And then the Bible says, and then he went alone into the wilderness, traveling all day. He sat down under a solitary broom tree and prayed that he might die. He said, I've had enough, Lord. Take my life, for I'm no better than my ancestors who have already died. He went into the wilderness on his own. You ready? They ain't gonna like this, but it's the truth. Last principle, you ready? Your wilderness may be your own doing. There's some times when God sends people into the wilderness, and there's some times where you selectively choose to go. God didn't send him into the wilderness. God sent him to deliver a message and stand on the message. He went into the wilderness out of fear. Bar. You don't even realize it, but your wilderness experience is because of something you were scared of outside of the wilderness. Before you got into the wilderness, there was a conversation had. And something in that conversation spooked you. And you went into the wilderness to get away from destiny. Jesus Christ. See. I know people don't like this because it's the truth, right? Destiny requires work. Destiny requires sacrifice. Destiny requires you to get rid of some things. It requires something from you. And the fear, and I can say this from a real place, the fear of losing who you were. I'm talking to Rich right now. The fear of losing who you were will keep you from walking into what God is calling you into. See, I know I ain't the only one, right? When God said something to me about being a pastor, I said, well, God, what they gonna think about me? I was like the dude from Paid in Full. I'm like, man, they still gonna love me out here in the street? I was like Magic Bird, one of them ball playing. That's how we had to talk, Brother Jeff. I was looking at God like, ain't no way in the world. You want me to be a pastor? Am I still gonna be cool? And because I was afraid of what he said, I walked into the wilderness. Don't nobody want to be honest. I walked into a marriage I wasn't supposed to be in. See, nobody want to be honest. I walked into some spaces and people that I had no business ever coming in contact with because I was afraid of what he called me to. And when he called me to it, my brain heard something different. And my brain started making up stuff that God never said. See, I only could talk about me, Sister Rios, because I don't know nobody in here. Not like that. I know y'all, I love y'all, but I don't know y'all enough to know what y'all running from. But you do. This is a moment where you got to be honest with yourself and ask, what is it that God has called me to that I won't walk into because of fear? What is it that I'm struggling with in my destiny that I'm willing to live in my wilderness? What is it that God is calling me to that's so great that I'm scared I'm going to fail at it? What is, see, that's the thing. We're not afraid of it. We're afraid that we're going to fail. How many of you know that even in your failure, God will pick you back up and put you right back on where you're supposed to be? Matter of fact, let me help you a little bit further. He already knew you was going to mess it up the first time around, so he put a contingency plan in place before you even walked into it. So go ahead and take the L. The L is a good place to learn. That was a bar. The L is a good place to learn. Take the L. Nobody want to struggle. Nobody want to mess up. Nobody want to. I kept saying, God, I said, God, I messed up a lot of stuff in my life. Please don't let me mess this up. I had to say that over 100 times. He said, you're going to mess up. But if that's what's keeping you from walking forward, you ain't going to be able to do nothing. Because I don't care what you go to do, you ain't going to always get it right. I just blessed 15 people in here. Whatever it is he called you to do, anticipate making some mistakes. That's good. Mistakes are good because you learn from them. Once you learn from the mistake, you can't repeat that no more because now God has grown you up in that area. Some of us are probably just afraid to grow up. Tap yourself and say, you're being childish. You're being childish. You know why people like being childish? I'm going to my seat. Because children ain't really got no responsibility. Boom. Children walk into their house, they eat, they go get in their bed, they get up and put their clothes on, they get in the car, they ride to school, and they ain't paid for nothing. They have no responsibility. It didn't cost them a thing. And we like to be like that in the spirit because we don't want to pay nothing. God said, get out of your childish ways and start moving like I called you to move. I got something great for you on the other side. And you over here looking at me crazy because I'm asking you to grow up. How long you going to be? That's the problem. Church got too many grown babies. We got to get out of this baby phase and we got to start moving how God called us to move. Babies like milk. Babies like milk. At some point, I want steak and potatoes on my plate. That means a heartier word. Something that's going to convict me more. Something that's going to make me study more. Something that's going to make me live right. Because holiness is still the foundation. I'm done. Boom. I'm done. You know why I'm done? Because people always want to leave church feeling good. And sometimes the word got to beat you up a little bit so you can do something different. Ain't no point in coming to church every week if you're going to live the way you lived the week before. Something on the inside of you should change. Something on the inside of you should want to serve them better. Something on the inside of you should make you want to study. Stop pump faking coming to church just to check the box. They don't even realize they got a heart condition. And the problem is some of us need a triple bypass. We need to bypass the bar. We need to bypass some stuff. And the problem is we won't bypass. We won't bypass. We keep thinking one more time and I'm going to be good. One more time and it's going to be all right. One more time and then I'm going to do it. The reality of it is, if you could have did it a long time ago, you would have. You can't do it until you turn it over to God. I dare you today, whatever it is, turn it over to the master. I heard somebody say we are his masterpiece. Well, if I'm his masterpiece, that means he is my master. So I'm going to turn it over to the master so he can work on me. I know he's like a potter and I'm clay, so he's molding me, which means sometimes he messes up. And if you know anything about pottery, when you on the wheel, when they mess up, they take the clay and they slam it back down to nothing and they start over again. I need y'all to understand, some of y'all got to start over again. But it's better than being out of the race. I'd rather just start over again. I feel good now, y'all. Now I'm ready to preach. Now I'm ready to go. Because we come to church playing with God week after week. God said he's tired of playing. He's done playing with us. You know why? Because he needs some soldiers out here to save the sin, sick, dying world. And we can't go get them right because we don't want to get right. General, I know what I'm talking about. He calling us to a greater work. And we so childish, we don't want to get out of the way. God said, grow up and go out. Grow up and go out. About 5 summers ago, I had the privilege of coming out. We lived in an apartment at the time. We came out the apartment, and a bird had built a nest in a bush right in front of my door. So I had the privilege of watching this bird take care of these baby birds for the duration of time that they was in the nest. And the mom and dad would fly out and get food, bring it back to the nest, and then one would fly away, and the other one would sit there. When they came back, the other one would fly away and go get food. This was their system. They had a system. They understood that this is what we need to do for these birds to be nurtured. When the birds got old enough, I noticed that the birds was taking stuff out of the nest. The mom and dad started taking things out the nest, which means the nest is now becoming uncomfortable because it's built on sticks. And when I start removing the items, now the sticks are poking you. Every now and again in this walk in life, you're going to start getting poked because there's some stuff that God got to move out of the nest. And it's uncomfortable because it's meant to make you get out the nest and go learn how to live. Some of us are stuck because we won't let them get the stuff from under us so the sticks can poke us. I came to tell you that God is going to poke you. God is going to move you out of the nest, which means CCC, we no longer get milk. The milkman don't deliver here no more. We eat good. We eat good food. We eat good food. And we're going to continue to eat good food because good food help you grow. Just like that.